If you're over 65 and still doing what I'm about to reveal in your morning routine, you're unknowingly sabotaging every effort you make to keep your brain sharp and healthy, and the tragic part is that this single habit is so deeply ingrained in most seniors' lives that they don't even realize it's slowly stealing their cognitive abilities one morning at a time. What I'm about to share with you will probably shock you because this morning ritual that 9 out of 10 seniors perform religiously is actually rewiring your brain in the worst possible way, creating a domino effect that impacts your memory, focus, and mental clarity for the entire day ahead. Right now, as you're listening to this, your morning routine is either setting your brain up for optimal performance and long-term health, or it's programming it for confusion, forgetfulness, and cognitive decline that will only get worse with time. You see, the first hour after you wake up is absolutely critical for your brain health. It's when your neural pathways are most receptive to new information, when your brain chemicals are being balanced for the day ahead, and when you're literally setting the tone for how well your mind will function until you go to sleep again. But here's what most people don't understand. There's one specific thing that millions of seniors do every single morning that completely hijacks this crucial window of opportunity, and instead of giving their brain what it needs to thrive, they're feeding it something that makes it weaker, foggier, and more susceptible to the kind of cognitive decline that robs people of their independence and joy in their golden years. Before I reveal what this devastating morning habit is, let me ask you something that might make you uncomfortable. When you wake up tomorrow morning, what's the very first thing you're going to reach for, and how is that choice going to affect the way your brain functions for the next 16 hours? You might think this is a simple question, but the answer could be the difference between maintaining your mental sharpness well into your 80s and 90s, or struggling with increasing confusion and memory problems that make you feel like you're losing yourself bit by bit. The truth is, your brain is incredibly vulnerable in those first moments after waking, and what you expose it to during this critical time period can either strengthen your cognitive abilities or set off a cascade of neurological changes that make it harder to think clearly, remember important information, and maintain the mental flexibility that keeps you feeling like the person you've always been. Most seniors have no idea that their morning routine is working against them, and they continue day after day, week after week, year after year, wondering why their memory isn't what it used to be, why they feel mentally sluggish, and why simple tasks that once came easily now require so much more effort and concentration. What makes this even more heartbreaking is that the solution is actually quite simple once you understand what's happening in your brain and why this particular morning habit is so destructive to your cognitive health. You see, when you wake up, your brain is in a unique state. It's been busy all night consolidating memories, clearing out toxins, and preparing for the day ahead, and the first hour after awakening is when it's most ready to absorb new information and establish the neural patterns that will guide your thinking throughout the day. But instead of taking advantage of this incredible opportunity to boost brain health, most seniors immediately engage in an activity that floods their brain with conflicting signals, overstimulates certain neural pathways while neglecting others, and creates a state of mental chaos that can take hours to recover from, if it recovers at all. So what is this morning habit that's destroying your brain health? It's immediately reaching for your phone, tablet, or turning on the television to consume a barrage of news, social media, or other digital content before your brain has had a chance to properly wake up and orient itself to the day. You might be thinking, but I just want to stay informed about what's happening in the world, or I like to check on my family and friends, and I completely understand those motivations, but here's what's actually happening in your brain when you flood it with digital stimulation first thing in the morning. You're triggering a stress response that releases cortisol and other chemicals that interfere with memory formation. You're overwhelming your brain's ability to process information systematically, and you're training your neural pathways to expect constant stimulation and distraction rather than focused, clear thinking. Think about it this way. When you immediately grab your phone or turn on the TV upon waking, you're essentially taking your brain from a state of rest and recovery directly into a state of hyperarousal and information overload, without giving it the gentle transition it needs to function optimally. It's like going from lying down to sprinting at full speed without any warm-up. Your brain simply can't handle that kind of sudden shift without experiencing stress and dysfunction. The news media, social media platforms, and even entertainment programs are specifically designed to capture and hold your attention by triggering emotional responses, creating a sense of urgency, and keeping you in a state of heightened alertness that might feel engaging but is actually exhausting your brain's resources and interfering with its natural rhythms. When you expose your brain to this kind of stimulation first thing in the morning, you're not just affecting the first hour of your day. You're setting up a pattern of mental reactivity, distraction, and stress that will influence how well you think, remember, and make decisions for the entire day ahead. Your brain begins to expect this constant stream of external stimulation, making it harder to focus on single tasks, engage in deep thinking, or access the calm, clear mental state that's essential for optimal cognitive function. This is particularly problematic for seniors because as we age, our brains become more sensitive to stress and overstimulation, and we need more time and space to process information effectively. When you start your day with digital overwhelm, you're working against your brain's natural needs and capabilities, creating an uphill battle that only gets more difficult as the day progresses. But here's the good news. Once you understand what's happening and why this morning habit is so harmful, you can make simple changes that will dramatically improve your brain health and cognitive function. The key is to create a morning routine that supports your brain's natural rhythms and gives it what it needs to function at its best, rather than immediately subjecting it to the chaos and stress of digital information overload. Instead of reaching for your phone or turning on the TV first thing in the morning, try starting your day with activities that gently engage your brain and prepare it for optimal function. This could include spending a few minutes in quiet reflection or meditation, doing some gentle stretching or movement, looking out the window and observing nature, or engaging in a simple, mindful activity like making your bed or preparing a healthy breakfast. The goal is to give your brain time to fully wake up and orient itself before exposing it to external stimulation. One of the most powerful things you can do is to establish a digital-free period for the first hour after waking, during which you avoid all screens and electronic devices. This doesn't mean you have to sit in silence doing nothing. It means choosing activities that engage your brain in a calm, focused way rather than overwhelming it with information and stimulation. You might read a book, write in a journal, do some light exercise, tend to plants, or engage in a hobby that requires focus and attention. The key is to choose activities that make you feel centered and alert rather than anxious or overstimulated. Another crucial element of a brain-healthy morning routine is to incorporate some form of mental stimulation that challenges your cognitive abilities without overwhelming them. This could be doing a crossword puzzle, reading a chapter from a book you're enjoying, practicing a musical instrument, or engaging in any activity that requires you to think, problem solve, or learn something new. The difference between this kind of mental stimulation and the digital overwhelm of news and social media is that these activities engage your brain in a structured, purposeful way that builds cognitive strength rather than depleting it. Physical movement is also essential for optimal brain function, and incorporating some form of gentle exercise into your morning routine can dramatically improve your mental clarity and cognitive performance throughout the day. This doesn't have to be intense or complicated. Even a few minutes of walking, stretching, or simple exercises can increase blood flow to your brain, release beneficial chemicals that support memory and learning, and help establish the mind-body connection that's crucial for overall cognitive health. The key is to move your body in a way that feels good and energizing rather than stressful or exhausting. Many seniors resist changing their morning routine because it's become such an ingrained habit, or because they worry about missing important information if they don't immediately check their phone or watch the news. But here's the truth. The vast majority of information that feels urgent in the moment is actually not time-sensitive at all, and the few things that truly require immediate attention will still be there when you're ready to handle them with a clear, focused mind. By starting your day with activities that support your brain health, you'll actually be better equipped to process and respond to important information when you do encounter it. One of the most effective strategies is to gradually shift your morning routine rather than trying to change everything at once. If you currently reach for your phone immediately upon waking, try waiting just 15 minutes before checking it, and use that time for one brain-healthy activity like making your bed mindfully or doing some gentle stretches. As this becomes comfortable, you can gradually extend the digital-free period and add more beneficial activities. The goal is to create sustainable changes that feel natural and enjoyable rather than forced or restrictive. It's also important to prepare your environment to support your new morning routine. This might mean keeping your phone in another room overnight so you're not tempted to grab it immediately upon waking, setting up a comfortable space for reading or journaling, or having everything you need for gentle exercise or meditation easily accessible. When you make it easy to engage in brain-healthy activities and slightly more difficult to fall back into old patterns, you're much more likely to succeed in creating lasting change. As you begin to implement these changes, you'll likely notice improvements in your mental clarity, memory, and overall cognitive function within just a few days or weeks. Many people report feeling more focused and alert throughout the day, experiencing better memory for both recent and distant events, and feeling more emotionally balanced and resilient. This is because you're giving your brain the gentle, supportive start it needs to function optimally, rather than immediately subjecting it to stress and overstimulation. The ripple effects of a brain-healthy morning routine extend far beyond just the first hour of your day. When you start your morning with activities that support cognitive function, you're creating a foundation for better decision-making, improved emotional regulation, and enhanced ability to engage meaningfully with the people and activities you care about. You're also building cognitive resilience that will serve you well as you age, helping to protect against memory loss and other forms of cognitive decline. Remember, your brain is constantly adapting based on how you use it, and the patterns you establish in the morning set the tone for how your neural networks will function throughout the day. When you consistently start your day with activities that support brain health, you're literally rewiring your brain for optimal performance and long-term cognitive wellness. Conversely, when you consistently overwhelm your brain with digital stimulation first thing in the morning, you're training it to expect and require constant external stimulation, making it harder to focus, think clearly, and access the calm mental states that are essential for memory formation and retrieval. I want to address a concern that many seniors have about changing their morning routine: the fear that they'll become isolated or uninformed if they don't immediately check their phone or watch the news. But here's the reality: true connection and meaningful information come from intentional, mindful engagement, not from passive consumption of digital content. When you start your day with activities that center and focus your mind, you'll actually be more present and engaged in your interactions with others throughout the day. You'll be better able to have meaningful conversations, make thoughtful decisions, and respond to situations with clarity and wisdom rather than reactivity and confusion. The goal isn't to completely eliminate technology or information from your life. It's to choose when and how you engage with these things in a way that supports rather than undermines your cognitive health. By establishing a morning routine that prioritizes brain health, you're not missing out on anything important. You're actually positioning yourself to engage with the world from a place of strength, clarity, and intentionality. This is particularly important for seniors because as we age, we become more vulnerable to the negative effects of stress and overstimulation, and we need to be more intentional about protecting and nurturing our cognitive abilities. The morning routine you establish now will have cumulative effects on your brain health for years to come, so it's worth taking the time to create habits that serve your long-term cognitive wellness rather than undermining it. Think about the person you want to be in 5 or 10 years. Do you want to be someone whose mind remains sharp, clear, and engaged, or someone who struggles with increasing confusion and mental fog? The choice you make about how to start each day is one of the most powerful tools you have for influencing your cognitive trajectory. Every morning that you choose to overwhelm your brain with digital stimulation is a missed opportunity to build cognitive strength and resilience. Every morning that you choose to start your day with activities that support brain health is an investment in your future mental clarity and independence. As we wrap up, I want you to think about tomorrow morning and what you're going to do differently. Maybe you'll keep your phone in another room tonight and start your day with a few minutes of gentle stretching or quiet reflection. Maybe you'll prepare a book to read or a journal to write in instead of immediately turning on the TV. Maybe you'll simply commit to waiting 30 minutes before checking any digital devices, and use that time for activities that make you feel centered and alert. Whatever you choose, remember that small changes can have profound effects on your brain health, and the most important step is simply to begin. Your brain is waiting for you to give it the gentle, supportive start it needs to function at its best, and the time to make this change is now. If this information has resonated with you, please consider sharing it with other seniors who might benefit from understanding how their morning routine is affecting their cognitive health. Together, we can help more people protect and nurture their brain health as they age, and we can challenge the assumption that mental decline is an inevitable part of getting older. Take action tomorrow morning by choosing brain health over digital overwhelm, and give yourself the gift of mental clarity and cognitive resilience that will serve you well for years to come.